top of the morning, and it is a beaut.
And the hope of the Irish as the future champion of the world.
A podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio.
Welcome to the Barry J. McDonald podcast. The place where dreams get dusted off and acted on. Because life is too short, we're living on a rock that's flying through space, and hey, what the hell else were you going to do with yourself here?
Hi, this is Barry here, and you are very, very welcome to today's podcast episode. Now, you may be wondering, well, what does he mean by stop looking for guarantees? Well, I'll tell you. Sometimes we hold ourselves back from doing something because we don't know how it's going to work out. We don't know if all this time and effort we're putting into our project is going to be worthwhile. Is it going to go anywhere? And sometimes when we don't know the answer to those questions, we just don't try. We just don't bother. And we just kind of stand on the sideline and we watch everybody else doing things. I know in my own case, if I go back a number of years, back to before I wrote my first fiction book, there was two great fears I had at the time. Now, the first one was just genuine fear. If I wrote this book, published it, what would people think? What would the reviews be like? And the second one was the unknown. You know, again, what if I set time aside, maybe take a couple of weeks to write this book, hit publish, and nothing happens? I don't make any sales. It doesn't amount to anything. And I think at the time that was probably worse than the first fear. Because, you know, you can get over the fear of writing a book, but sometimes kind of looking into the unknown, not knowing what's ahead, how is it going to work out, sometimes just stops us. And thankfully now I did take action, published the book, and I found answers to all those questions. I found the kids actually liked the book. The kids actually wanted a second book. And the reviews started coming in and, you know, it totally blew me away. So I had all the answers to those questions that I didn't have before I wrote the book. And sometimes we would like the answers before we take the actions. You know, will this podcast I'm thinking of doing, will it be successful? Will this YouTube channel that I'm thinking of doing, will it be successful? Will I be able to make an income from home as a blogger? And we're asking these questions at the very beginning of our journey, sometimes even before we've even created a piece of content. And I used to find that too when I used to talk to people when they used to find out that I used to write fiction books, and sometimes they used to ask me, well, you know, how do you write a fiction book? And again, I would explain all the steps along the way. I'd show them how to write the book, how to publish it, how to make money of it, and then they'd kind of stop on their tracks. And again, I would see the same fears that I had, where they were playing that scenario over in their head. Would anyone buy this book that I could write? If I set all this time aside, will it be successful? And I used to find a lot of those people would just kind of give up straight away without even trying because of the fear of the unknown. And sometimes we lose, you know, we lose the fact that there is nothing really guaranteed in life. You know, we could wish that life is just full of guarantees, but it's not. You know, even for the first moment we're born into this world, we're not guaranteed our second breath. We're not guaranteed that we're going to be born into a healthy body. We're not guaranteed that we are going to, you know, be taken home by a good family, into a good home. We're not guaranteed that maybe it's a good country we're going to be brought up in. And there are no real guarantees. Like, we don't even know if we're guaranteed another tomorrow. We're not guaranteed sometimes a full life. So when you look at life that way, there is really not many things you can guarantee. And again, I think as we get older, we kind of lose sight of that. And we sometimes think, well, if I know this thing is going to be successful, if I'm guaranteed it's going to be successful, well, then I'll do it. Again, this podcast here, I don't know where it's going to go in the future. Will it be a success? Who knows? Let's just wait and see what happens. But right now, I don't know that, and you don't know that. And sometimes not knowing is exciting. You know, it sometimes makes us, kind of keeps us on our toes, kind of puts a little excitement into life. Because when you think about it, if everything was guaranteed, if everything you did today was guaranteed, do you not think that life would become boring? Do you not think that before you got out of bed, you would think to yourself, well, this blog post I'm going to do today is going to be successful, or this podcast episode today is going to have thousands of downloads, or this video I'm going to do today it's going to give me, thousands of views. Like if you were lying in bed today knowing that all those things were going to happen, before you actually did that thing, I'm sure life would be mundane. It'd be dull. It'd be boring. Because you'd have all the answers before you had the questions. And I think by life not having many guarantees and being uncertain adds a little excitement, because we don't know what's going to happen next. Now, of course, we do want to take the best steps. We do want to go on the best advice. We do want to make a good attempt. But even sometimes the best advice, the best attempts, doesn't always guarantee success. And sometimes, what we might wish to happen sometimes isn't in our best interest. You might fail as a writer, but you might find that maybe your failure from becoming a fiction writer may lead you on another path. You may decide to go into blogging, and maybe blogging is the path that you should be going on. Or maybe you should be going on something else. And sometimes failing at certain things doesn't mean that it's a kind of the end of the road. Sometimes it's a detour. Sometimes life pushes us down a better path that'll suit us better. And sometimes not having those answers to those questions, sometimes we need to take the action on it. Sometimes we need to fail. And then sometimes we know, well, should I go this way or should I go that way? But I think if we have all guarantees in life, it's going to be a boring one. So if you are maybe holding yourself back right now, afraid of writing a book, creating a podcast, maybe doing videos on TikTok, becoming a blogger, putting up a website, whatever it is, because you're afraid of it not being successful, you're never going to know. You can do the best you can, but again, you're never going to know. You're only going to have the answers to that question after you take action on it. And then you're going to find out, you're going to look back and you say, I'm glad I built that website. I'm glad I wrote that book. I'm glad I did that podcast. But right now, you're never going to know. And you're never going to know until you take action. And if you think that at some point you're going to have the answer, you're never going to have the answer. Because life is just filled with uncertainties. There are no guarantees. And if there are no guarantees, well, do it. Find out. And this excitement that, I think the two words, what if, are exciting. Because what if your blog took off? What if your book became successful? What if you made millions from home, in your home, your home-based business? What if all that happened? We don't know whether it will or not, but I'm sure just even playing that scenario over in your head right now does make it seem exciting. Whereas if you woke up in the morning knowing that thing was definitely going to happen, I'm sure that excitement would wear off. Life would become dull, it'd become boring, because you had all the answers. So stop looking for guarantees, take action, and find out an answer to that question. What if? What if it did work out? You'll never know until you take action, but take action and see where it takes you. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye. Would you like to know how I went from being a lowly shelf stacker, depressed, no confidence in himself, and how I went from that to becoming a popular children's author, and then on to even greater things, recording and selling my own digital products? If you'd like to find out how I did it, and if you would like to do the same yourself, if you head over to Writecom, that's WRITECOME.com, you'll find a great free report over there, which is called the Online Business Manifesto. And in that report, I'm going to show you the journey I went on from the beginning to where I am right now. And I'm going to show you the 3 business secrets I learned along the way. Now, these secrets aren't secrets that most people talk about. Some people don't even realise that they exist. So if you head over to Writecom, download the free report, you are going to be miles ahead of everyone else who has an online business. Have a lovely day, and I hope you enjoy this episode.